Castor River Farms really gets its beginnings generations ago. Castor River Farms Generation Sustainability established 1954. And this is the year that we can kind of point back to say, this is when my grandfather, Ferg Hunter, kind of drew his line in the sand and said, here we are. We're an ag family. We're going to be row crop producers, and this is the life we're going to live. Make no mistake about it, everything that we do, from the land that we farm, the crops that we plant, the rice mill that we've built, and this brand, this idea, is very much a tribute to the ones that have come before us. And it's very humbling when you think about the work, the sacrifice, and the dedication that the ones before us have given. And it's our job, in my opinion, to take that legacy and continue on, which is why we've created Castor River Farms. It's why this brand exists, is because of my grandfather, my father, my mother, making it all happen. To go back to our immediate history, we would go back to my grandfather, Ferg Hunter. And so they started farming in southeast Missouri, really around 1954. And so my grandfather, he found more or less unimproved, non-usable land, bottomland, swampland. It was his task to say, okay, what are we going to do here? And he decided, we're going to clear this land, we're going to drain this land, and we're going to start raising crops. And so that was their gift to the next generation. My father comes along and he sees this resource and this land, and he thinks, well, this is good, but it could be better. Let's grade this land. Let's dig the ditches. Let's irrigate. Let's create a farm that will be successful no matter what the conditions. And that was his vision. And then along comes me, John Hunter II. Now, I grew up large family. Grandfather had built the base. My father had come along and improved it. And in 1992, my father, my mother, myself, and my sister, we experienced a life-changing event through the passing of my father. His life was cut short at age 52. He died 12/22, 1992 at 2:22. Deuce is wild. That could have very well have been the end of it for myself, because that was up to my mom on what would happen next. And so at that point, the legacy really shifted from my father to my mother, because the phone at that point was ringing off the hook. People, hey, we want to buy your farm. And she came to me at 10 years old. I was 10. She sat me down, and Mom asked me a very simple question. She said, do you want a farm? And at 10 years old, I knew. I knew what I wanted to do. I said, yeah, Mom, I want a farm. She said, okay. And that was the beginning. It's easy to talk about Papa, and it's easy to talk about Dad, but the person that doesn't get talked about is Mom. And I think when you look back through the history, she's the one who really pulled this thing together. Castor River, it's more than long grain brown and white rice. It's so much more than that. This is an opportunity for people to buy something from a real farm. When you think about Castor River Farms and you buy a bag of our rice, of course you're getting a piece of the story, you're getting a piece of this history, but you're also getting a piece of the here and now. Because it's not all history. We're living in the here and now. And so 2012 was a pivotal year for me, because in 2012, Southeast Missouri, we had a record-breaking drought. And 2012 is not a year I would care to live through again. I came up really short 2012. And I came up so short that I didn't know if I was going to be able to farm again. What that forced me to do is start asking some hard questions. So that winter, I started researching why it was such a failure. I clicked on an ad one day for what was called a tillage radish. That ad led me to a YouTube video from a guy out in Pennsylvania that had a radish called the tillage radish, and it was marketed as a tool to break up compaction and increase water infiltration. I had the realization that I had been slowly but methodically, along with people before me, destroying my ground with too much fertilizer, too much chemicals, too much tillage. I sent an email to a guy named Ray Archuleta explaining the problems I was having on my farm. I didn't understand what was going on with my soil, why weren't the things that I told would work working. And Ray ended up calling me on a Sunday at about 10 o'clock, and we talked for 2 hours. And that phone call was one of the biggest phone calls of my life, because it started me down this path of soil health. And then we started no-tilling, made that first year work. Next year, everything, 100% cover crop. We went 100% no-till first year. By the year 2, we were 100% no-till, 100% cover crop. So the soil health journey that we got on took us incredible places. I looked up in 4 years and I was one of the keynote speakers at the National No-Till Conference in St. Louis, Missouri. We've been recognized for our work in soil health. We were recognized by the Missouri Department of Agriculture. We were recognized by the Conservation Federation of Missouri for our work on soil health and our soil conservation, which is really, it's really gratifying to be recognized for that. But what's really gratifying is when you help somebody who is where I was 10 years ago and they need help making the transition. That's what's really gratifying. The soil health journey, interestingly enough, also helped lead us to Castor River Farms. When people find out how we grow rice on our farm, we grow with no-till, no flood, no burn, no fungicide, no insecticide. And so that's what's exciting for me, is to be able to get out into the world and show people this product, tell them what we do, how we do it, why we do it, and watch the reaction on their face when they go, oh, that's amazing. One of the cool things about Castor River Farms is the consistency of the product. When you look at what we offer, it's something that you can't find anywhere else in the food space. One, you have a family farm producing a high quality product on a regenerative agriculture farm using conservation agriculture methods. We're taking the rice that we grow and we're putting it into our own rice mill from our own fields. And then from there, we put it into our own bags and into our boxes and then out into the world. What we have found is overwhelming support for the taste, the texture, the ease of preparing this rice. And now we're seeing a revolution in food and a revolution in agriculture where people It's not a privilege anymore, it's a right. You deserve to know where your food comes from. It's the most important thing you do all day is the food that you put into your body. So if you don't know where your food's coming from, I feel like you're really missing out. But our customers, they know. And our customers, they believe in healthy soil, healthy food, healthy people. So Castor River Farms is located in what I consider the ideal place to grow healthy crops. We've got excellent water, we've got excellent rain, we've got an excellent environment. We're located in southeast Missouri. The location of our farm, the location of our rice mill, we didn't know it going into it, but it's been really ideal. We're halfway in the middle of the country. So we're shipping pallets to Boston and we're shipping pallets to California, and it works out great because we're right in the middle. I couldn't do it without my family. I couldn't do it without my team. And it takes all of us to make this thing work. It's Papa handing down the land. It's my dad handing down the land. It's me handing down the land, but it's also me handing down an entire revolution of our food system, where people have the opportunity to get healthy food from a healthy soil. And that's the difference. To say that we're committed would be a very big understatement. And I think that's what we have found in the food industry is we get a lot of funny looks when we tell them we're farmers. And they say, well, we've seen farmers come and go, but they've never seen us. And they're gonna see us. They're either gonna see us on their shelf or they're gonna see us on the shelf across the street. And that's up to them.